Okay. Hi, Jim.
How are you? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yep. I can hear
Okay,
you.
I know this is a little unconventional for me as well. I started getting texts and emails about your program here on I believe it's YouTube, and I didn't mean to blindside you, but I am a licensed private investigator. I own a company called Gulf Coast Investigation out of Biloxi, Mississippi, and as a private investigator, I am licensed in several states. I think a total of 6 now, including Ohio, which is where I'm at right now. I'm just outside of Youngstown, Ohio, which is in the northeastern corner. And I was retained by the family 72 hours ago, by the father in particular. She has 3 brothers, 1 sister. There's 5 siblings. And of course, her mom is deceased, died recently of breast cancer. And the father that hired me is Lance Nelson. And while I'm pulling out what hair I have and screaming into my computer here, is because there is so much misinformation out there about this case. There is a hell of a lot of speculation based on what people are seeing. I've even seen her wedding registry out there. In fact, in watching your show right now, I saw a lot of stuff that I had never seen before. But one thing I can tell you is I can answer every question you've been asking yourself for the last half hour that I've been watching, and I'll answer and be totally transparent with your audience as well. Not sure if you've ever had a private investigator on the show, but I've been doing this for 7 years. I'm one of the top guys in the country. And the number one thing about this is I have 3 specialties as a private investigator. I do celebrity cases. I do minority cases, African Americans, Hispanics. A lot of people know me from the Gloria Alvarado case out of Detroit, which was on Good Morning America. I found her in 31 days. The other thing is I deal with people who go missing with a car, which I haven't heard one person mention yet. She is not the only thing missing. Her gray 2016 Dodge Charger is also missing. And that's why I mentioned in your chat room that this case could end on Monday.
Oh, here's Bella. Bella, my co-host that I have. Oh, Bella here. Okay. So with good news, or what do you mean by that?
Well, I don't know. See, what a lot of people, and I'll answer, and you could fire away, and I don't want to filibuster or take over your program here. First of all, what people have to understand when they look at this, and I cringe, but if you're not in this industry, if you didn't go to school for this, there's a big difference between psychics, web sleuths. What is the other term that's real hot right now that people are using? Advocates. If one more person calls me with an advocacy in a 501c3, if you are not a licensed private investigator and you are practicing as a private investigator in some states, it's a felony. Any more than if you came to me and I says, well, I took some dental classes. I could give you a root canal in my basement. It's not legal. You can't do that. And so that frustrates me. Now, what you've been showing here, what your program has done, I've been very impressed with. So I don't take that as a shot to anybody. I'm not trying to come off as a jerk. But what I can tell you is there is a lot with this. There's a lot of things that I can answer for you. But when you look into a case like this, you have to make sure that you're aware of everything that goes on. And number one, that people don't understand, and I see them in the chat room, why don't the cops do this? Why don't the police do this? It is not illegal for somebody over the age of 18 to go missing. If right now you or I want to get up and move to San Francisco and go live with a guy, or I want to get up and I want to move to Iowa and become a farmer, or I want to go become a beach bum in southern part of Florida, I can do it, and I don't have to tell my children, my wife, my kids, nothing. And the cops are not going to put up roadblocks. The cops are not going to go searching for somebody. This is a girl who left over the age of 18. She was not abducted. At this point, the police do not believe that she's in any danger. Okay. So at that point, this is not a criminal investigation. The only thing that becomes a little interesting here is that she's AWOL from being in the National Guard, which I spoke with her sergeant at length 2 days ago, and I will share that for the first time here on your program. And that technically at this point is not even a crime. There is not military police looking for her, and she's not going to be thrown into a military prison. I've spoken with them about that. And that's the first thing I wanted to make very aware on your program, if that makes sense.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Wow. Bella,
If
do you
she
have anything? I gotta absorb, think about everything you just said. Wow. So
if there's a reason why she's watching the program, it would be good for her to know that the military police are not going to take action on that, right?
Well, here's what I'm going to tell her, and I haven't mentioned this anywhere. And you mentioned a couple of things on your show, like there isn't a lot of press on this. You're 100% right. Her father is a very faith-based, faith-driven man. This is a guy who's been a youth minister. This is a family that went through Catholic and private and Christian schools, Christian colleges. If you've looked at any of her college background and her ex-husband's college background, they were collegiate athletes at a small Christian school in the state of Ohio, where she, I believe, ran track or cross country. I'm not 100% sure. Myself, and this is one of the things why it was brought to me, this case was brought to me by some media outlets, but the only reason it made any sort of press, and I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, is number one, because the military put it out there first. When I talked to her staff sergeant the other day, which, by the way, they are off until Monday. That's another reason the military hasn't said anything. Since Veterans Day, they have not been back in the office. I figured they were only off for one day. They're not back till Monday. I will speak with the media coordinator for the military on Monday. And what I can tell you right now is if she is listening to this, if she is seeing this, if her taking this too far and not coming back to the military is the reason that she's hiding, I can tell you right now that if she calls me, and my phone number is right here, and my phone number is out there on the internet, it's 813-993-2242. I will put her in contact with her staff sergeant, and they will get her out of her military commitment. I have brokered that already. That will officially be made announced tomorrow through the press. The second reason that this is so polarizing, and we have not talked to the media yet, other than the father's background and the siblings that they have, and the wide family that goes from North Dakota to Illinois all the way down to Ohio, is because she is an extremely attractive girl. Let me put it to you this way. As a private investigator, I got cases where I have a 250-pound black girl who's 22 years old, and I can't get anything on the press. They won't touch her with a 10-foot pole. If the better looking you are, if you're a white girl that's attractive in the United States of America and you're missing, especially if you've got a social media presence or you got a ton of hot pictures wearing a military outfit, this is the next Gabby Petito story if we don't find her soon. In fact, Gabby Petito's Facebook page 48 hours ago sent out this story nationally, which is why I've kind of been trying to keep a cap on this. This story involves a player in the National Basketball Association. This story and her disappearance also involves and has something to do with a major rap star in the Midwest. None of this has been brought out to her. So everybody can go and look at her Facebooks and her, all that kind of stuff. It ain't going to get you nowhere. What gets you somewhere in a case like this is the car. You and I can get rid of a body. We can probably get rid of a body pretty quick in the state of Ohio, at least for some time. It is impossible to get rid of a $30,000 car in the last 14 days unless it's at the bottom of a lake.
Oh, wow.
What does her father think?
Yeah, because her father's obviously worried about her. I mean,
in 6 years of doing this, I've never had a client like him. He is extremely composed. He is extremely faith-based. And when I was brought to, he did not seek me out. A media outlet put us together. And he thinks that she is possibly laying low and maybe took this too far. Let me explain what I mean by that. When I go into these, I don't have a theory. The problem with having a theory in a missing persons case is if I say she ran away and she's in Seattle and she's living with her best friend, now I have to do everything I possibly can to fit my theory to come out right in the end. I don't have a problem saying I don't know, but what I can tell you the father believes is probably pretty close to the truth, which is that this is a girl like a child that took it too far. Let me give you this analogy. This is like you took your parents' car for a drive and you knocked the mirror off. You placed the mirror back on, you park it in the garage, and you didn't tell anybody. But it gets to be too, and they come, did you take the car out? And instead of saying, yeah, I took the car out, I screwed up, mom and dad, I'll take my punishment. This is somebody who kept denying it, kept moving it around, and it got too far. It went too far. And I don't believe that she thinks she can come back from it. And maybe that's the motivation. Usually you see this if somebody has a warrant or if they're running from child child support or any of the other kind of cases. So the father believes that based on her life decisions and the people that I've now told him she was involved with, that she might be living with somebody on the West Coast, possibly in Southern California, in the Los Angeles area. She did put in an application to become a Laker girl. That's never been put out anywhere in the media before. So she wanted the limelight. But we've got to be careful here, because I don't believe she wanted the limelight to disappear in order to get the press. I think that she took this too far. She should have told people what she was doing right off the bat, and it got away from her. And maybe at this point she's scared to pop her head out because she thinks she's going to go into the military prison, and that's not going to happen.
Okay. Wow. So, I mean, who's the last person that's physically seen her? Do you know?
No, I got 10 people that say they were the last to physically see her.
Oh.
First of all, you mentioned something about how she was never homeless. Never.
Thank you.
She had an apartment.
I didn't think so.
She had an apartment with 3 or 4 other girls. One girl I spoke to yesterday and today that she did not get along with. This girl's name was Maryland. I forget her last name. All extremely attractive girls, because I wondered how 4 girls that attractive all get into the same apartment. You know what I'm thinking, escorts. You know, you hate to go there, but in order to be a good private investigator, you have to be cynical. You can't worry about people's feelings. If I see 4 hot chicks living in an apartment together and one goes missing, I got to assume maybe they're hookers, right? Maybe they're doing porn, right? They're not all working at Starbucks. Unfortunately, that rubs people the wrong way. That's the difference between what I do and people do online that try to find people. And unfortunately, she was in a situation where there were some girls she didn't get along with, and she moved out for a couple of days. If that's homeless, then I've been homeless a hell of a lot. So I can tell you this much. She was not homeless and living on the street. A girl that good looking is not going to go homeless. It just doesn't work that way. Not in a 2016 gray hot rod like that. And she had a lot of friends. Most of her friends were guys. And you can see that by a lot of the personal trainers and athletes that she hung out with.
Okay. Oh, wow. So you said that there's 2 guys that you think that she may be with, or, I mean, are they dangerous?
Here's what I did.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, I don't know which guy she's with. I don't know. What I have found out is a network of her friends that her so-called friends did not know existed. She had 2 sets of friends. Mm-hmm. She had the sets of friends that were in Dayton and Columbus, and that they hung out with her, and they went to. Then she had some famous people that she was talking to. She had some people that are household names that she had communicated with. And I believe that it is possible. Listen, she's been gone how many days now? What is it, 17, 18, something like that? Okay, give or take 48 hours. Depending on who the last person to see her is. You asked a very good question. I can't tell you who that is, because I got 10 different people to say, well, I was the last one to see her. Well, I was the last guy to talk to her. I was the last one to text her.
What was the last date, though? What was the last date of the person told you?
Well, there's 5 of them. There's a last date that she texted somebody, a last day she posted on social media. There's a last day she talked to her father, last day she talked to a friend, the last day she's seen in her car, last day that I don't know. I don't know what the end timeline is. But if she was dead or murdered, let me put it to you this way. Here's where we would have a problem. If they find that car at a trailhead in Montana, or if they find that car at a Walmart parking lot, and it's all banged up and she's not with the vehicle, as long as that vehicle is not found, that's a pretty tough anchor. It's following her around the country. So it's very difficult to stay hidden with a vehicle. There's things called plate readers. Do you know what those are?
Right.
Does your audience know what that is?
You can explain it in case.
Okay. Here's what a plate reader is. People don't know this exists. Every day I take a case, I find this. And by the way, I only do 1 case at a time. It's the only way I'm successful at this. Some private investigators have 10 cases. I don't do cheating housewives, bodyguard work. I don't do any of that. I only do missing persons and recovery. So I can tell you what a plate reader is. I never knew existed until I went through a private investigating school. Everywhere you go, your license plate has the possibility of being hit. You've gone through a toll booth. Everybody has, and you get a ticket in the mail that says you got to pay $6 because you went through Philadelphia, right? So that's a plate reader. You ever see a police car going up and down a parking lot, up and down a parking lot, up and down a parking lot, and you're like, well, what's he doing here in the mall? His police car is hitting all the license plates, and it goes into what I call a cop Google, a giant database. It's how you catch cheating husbands and cheating housewives. I can run a license. I could run your license plate right now. And if it was hit at a Motel 6 on Tuesday at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and you've been telling your husband you were at work all day at Starbucks, you got some questions to answer. Cops have that. Tow trucks have that. If you go to Disney World, it hits it. You go over the Golden Gate Bridge. If you go past traffic cameras, they suck up your license plates. It's why casinos in Las Vegas won't let you back your car in, because they want to be able to read your plates. So a plate reader will tell where that car has been. So if she drove the car from Columbus to Los Angeles, there's a pretty damn good chance that plate was hit somewhere in between. And I might be able to figure out where that is tomorrow. That's why I say you never know when this could answer. Or
that's why you said it. Sorry, Jim. That's why you said it could end soon. Is because of the plate reader?
That's one of the things. And see, the police have been very good. I spoke with the detectives that were on this. And the fact that there are detectives that are on this are interesting. And the only reason that the detectives and that the media has taken it to the level that it has is because of the military. They called this in. When I talked to a sergeant, I says, how often does an AWOL happen? I had to look it up. I have no military or law enforcement background. None. My background's professional football. So I'm just a recovery guy. I'm somewhere in between a repo man for a tow truck and Dog the Bounty Hunter. That would be the best way to describe what I do. There's people in your chat room that know more about the law than I do, but in 7 years, I've never not found my person or thing. And I can tell you that when I went over it with the police and when I went over this with different people, the military base told me the longest they had ever had somebody go AWOL, which I had to look. Do you even know what AWOL stands for? Does anybody out there know what that? I had to look it up.
When I was reading the article, it said it, but I forgot.
Go ahead. I'll let you guys answer that one in the chat room. AWOL. Yeah. I thought AWOL was a term. I didn't know it was an abbreviation for things.
An acronym. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, in looking at it and talking with the police and everybody, they said the longest anybody had ever gone to AWOL was 3 days because they were drunk or sick. Nobody's ever gone AWOL from the Ohio State National Guard for more than 72 hours. So this is kind of like, boom. Now you punch in the high level of, guys, I have the Nancy Graces of the world calling the father and calling us every 5 minutes. It would be nothing for me to go on a program and explain what's going on. Maybe the press isn't the most important thing right now. Maybe it's taking all the avenues that I can to see if she's okay, because even if I find her, she doesn't have to come back.
That's right.
She doesn't have to come back. I find people all the time and they say, you tell my kids and my wife, they can go to hell. I never want anything to do with them. And that's a tough decision. That's a tough call to have to make back to them. So this is new for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, I had no idea. Wow. So that makes sense. I hope you're right. I mean, I hope this is making me feel actually good that maybe she is just safe. And,
yeah.
You know what the most interesting part of this is? That everybody's opinion of her. Women between the ages of 16 and 25's opinion watching her online is way different than a mother of 3 who's in her 40s. A guy who's in his 60s opinion of her is way different than a guy who's 16 or 18. I've seen people online blaming the ex-husband. I've spoken with that side of the family. I spoke with her ex-father-in-law. I promise you, he has nothing to do with this.
Okay.
Nothing.
Well, I wasn't able to find much on him, so I didn't.
Oh, he was a college baseball player. If you dig deep enough into YouTube, you know what? There's even, and this is another reason the father was a little bit scared, not to dominate your show, but just to get this out there at least one time, is that there's a guy who's already done a YouTube video with all of the stuff that you're running, and he's pulling out tarot cards as he's doing this, and it's saying, oh, listen, if one more psychic calls me for a missing persons case, I'm going to puke. And here's what I tell psychics that call me all the time. If a psychic calls me today or tonight, you have my number, and thinks they know, well, first of all, they always say one of two things. She's near water. She's in a basement. That's one of two things. Tell me the score of the Monday Night Football game tomorrow night, and if you hit that on the head, I'll hire you. If you were a psychic, wouldn't you be living in Las Vegas? I would be living at the blackjack tables. They're total horseshit. Total horseshit. So I don't want to hear from psychics that say she's near water. 80% of this universe lives near a body of water. So there's a cold readers. But what I'm trying to tell you is you got to take what you can figure out. You've got to talk to as many people as you possibly can. Keep your options open, and then let this person know that they can contact you. That's why I'm on your show right now. She can call me right now, and I'll explain to her how she can get out of this if that's what she wants to do.
And everyone, if you can all share this video with your social medias so that it can get to her, if she's okay, and we're praying that she is. We're praying she is in LA and she's seeking out her dream and she wants to be missing, and that's fine. But she just needs to get in touch and let everyone know she's safe and she's not wanted for anything. The military, like you said, Jim, the military is doing what for her now?
Well, here's the conversation I had with the military, with her sergeant. They're going to put me in contact. She can get out of the National Guard. There's a way to do it. And I've already brokered that because I went over every base and I said, listen, I says, can she get out? Sure, she can. I says, okay. You're going to call her if she's in San Francisco or Portland or New York and say, yeah, come on back. I wouldn't trust it. I wouldn't roll the dice. I said, what if she calls in? Well, we got to see her. I says, okay, what if she does a Zoom? Let's do what we're doing right now, and she'll call you. Would you let her out of it? They seem to be very receptive to that. So I tried to cover every base with them. Like I said, they're a fish out of water too. They're embarrassed. I don't think they want to have to deal with this. This is an extremely volatile situation. I never did a young person, I'll say a young person under the age of 25 as far as a missing persons case, until about 2 years ago. This pandemic has put people's minds and has created issues with them like I've never seen. I can't tell you how many teen runaway cases I've done in the last 19 months because these kids are sitting at home on a computer talking to old guys in Ohio or Florida, and they go live with them and the parents don't know where they're at. They sat at home, they stayed online, they went batshit crazy, things happened in their lives, people died, and now they're reacting to that and they're making bad decisions. The part that hurts me about this is a woman who, no matter what her situation is, has gone through a lot, but so has her family. So the part that scares me about this is not only has her father lost a wife, but now a daughter. Where's his daughter? Why would she want to do that to her siblings and her father? That's the million-dollar question for me.
Man. Maybe she's not thinking this. When we were going through this, it started reminding me of the Shannon Sims. I don't know if you're familiar with Shannon Sims, Jim, but she was missing in the LA. I'm in LA. She was missing in the LA area. A beautiful girl, social media with fitness. And she'd been missing, I think it was like 2 months. And her family found her in a hospital in LA because she had a mental breakdown because of COVID and everything.
Wow.
So this case kind of reminds me of that until you came up. And I also want to apologize for telling you to get in touch with Zap. You can understand we can't just let anyone on. But yeah, we were like,
yeah, especially a guy that looks like me. Well, here's what I tell people. You know what else? I'm going to vent on your show too, because this is kind of like therapy for me. I do missing persons cases, and I'll call a parent, and they say why didn't you pick up my call? They said, well, we didn't know who you were, so we didn't take your call. If you have a missing loved one, you take every phone call that comes to your phone. Don't tell me, well, I only answer calls I know. Do you think the people that they're going to be with are somebody you know? It's infuriating, the level of paranoia that's out there. I didn't take it from because yeah, you could be any Yahoo there. I mean, hell, I'm not saying that I'm necessarily sane, but what I am telling you is there hasn't been a lot of press on this. And when I saw you going over this, I thought I could answer the questions. You guys seem like your heart was in the right place. I don't do a lot of this kind of thing. I do one show for a guy named Ikamel. He's a guy I've done some shows with. I don't know if you know who he is, because I actually have solved cases for him. And I would do that for people on your channel as well. Yeah, so if there's, and I put that is my cell phone number. That is you will get me. Now I'm going to have every knucklehead calling me, but you will get me. And if you have a missing loved one, if you need a background check, any of that, and you're listening to this show, I have no problem doing that for people. But, you know, like I said, there is a lot of frauds out there, guys. But any questions you have on this is your shot now, because I will not do another one of these unless it's mainstream media. Hopefully we won't have to. But if you have any questions, fire away. Take it from the beginning. I'll answer anything short and sweet.
Okay.
Your
Bella,
audience has any questions.
Yeah, I'm going to look at chat. Bella, if you could think of anything.
So
do they give you money in the chat room? Is that how that works? I saw like cash popping up.
Yeah. Sometimes they give super.
All right. Well, then if they want to ask a question, maybe you should make $2 on it. Then if they, I'll answer their question. I'll answer their question for $5, but you get it. How about that?
Oh, that's so sweet. I have a question about the for free. I hope. I have a question about the license plate readers. There are also individuals that have the license plate readers too, like private citizens. So there could be a lot. And you said you're going to find out hopefully tomorrow with that, right? I'm
going to run a plate reader. Yeah, the police in Columbus already have it set up where if it's hit, they'll get notified like a text. The problem is if it gets hit in Boise, Idaho, that's not instantaneous. It's not like I go through the plate reader today at 5 o'clock and at 5:01, it hits the cops in Columbus. It may take a month if it's in Montana or a couple of days. I don't know. But I'm going to run that tomorrow. I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve, but I'm hoping that she sees this. She calls the number that's here. She lets me broker her talking to some people, and we'll put this all together. But I know about the NBA player, and I know about the rap star, and I know about some other people that were in her life. This is not a girl that lacked for friends. She lacked for quality friends. It wasn't. She needed a little bit more better grounded people. She also got, if you read, and this is probably going to get me into some hot water, but I don't give a shit. If you look on her, she got real into the Black Lives Matter movement. Did you catch that?
Yes, I did see that. Yeah, she posted a lot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that she was an outcast. Her family has never had an issue with anything to do, has never taken a stand in politics, has never ostracized her. She went to go visit a cousin of hers in Chicago that I think sometime around June or July, I forget. I don't have all my notes in front of me, so I'm winging it here. And there were some things there about Black Lives Matter and all this kind of stuff. And me and my cousin are outcasts and all that. I spoke with her father, her sister, and she has 3 really successful brothers. And I haven't spoke with all of them, but I can tell you that none of them had an issue with anything. They've never expressed an interest one side or the other.
So I have a question. She was living in Columbus, but wasn't she stationed in Dayton? I'm a little bit confused because isn't that like a 2-hour? Isn't Dayton and Columbus like about 2 hours away?
Yeah, but she's in the National Guard. She doesn't go to the base every day.
Oh, okay.
When you're in the National Guard, I believe you only. And so there's got to be people that are in the military in your chat room. It's every other weekend, once a month.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that. Okay.
You're thinking that, yeah, she's like in Vietnam. No.
I was thinking it was like every day.
I don't. Private Ryan. No.
Okay.
Jim, you have a really good sense of humor. You can just come on and hang out with us when we do our GPS lives, not talk about crime at all.
Well, now where are you guys located?
I'm in Ohio. I'm in Canton, Ohio.
Oh, okay. And I'm not far from you, so I know. Did you go to Canton? Did you go to high school in Canton?
Yeah.
Where'd you go to Hoover?
No, I went to Central Catholic High School.
Oh, so you're a Catholic girl.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about our friend here who's not showing her face but has some sort of a Halloween costume up there, a sugar skull? What's that about?
It's a Day of the Dead. It's me dressed up for the Day of the Dead out here at Hollywood Forever Cemetery. They do it big.
Where are you from?
Los Angeles.
Oh, you're in LA. Okay.
Yeah.
My freshman year, I played college football in Long Beach, and my brother lives in Playa del Rey, so I know your area real well.
Oh, you went to Long Beach for school?
Long Beach City. I played my freshman year of college football right off of the Pacific Coast Highway at Long Beach City College in 1995.
Wow. Well, my sister is a female coach for a basketball team for a city college out here.
Which one?
West LA.
Oh, West LA. Okay, they were one of our rivals. Yeah, the community college system out there is different than anywhere else in the country, but I did not get into private investigating until about 6.5 years ago. So this is new for me too. I learn every day. And when I started, there wasn't as many of these shows that dedicate themselves to missing persons, which I don't think can hurt if they have the right information out there. There's a Facebook page right now for the Nelson girl, and some girl with horrible eyebrows and tons of makeup, and she's doing all these Facebook posts and says she's working with the family, and she's not. She's lying. I talked to her, and she got pissed.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they even have a Facebook page dedicated to her with not one shred of truth.
Wow,
that stuff's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
Yeah, because I'm in a couple of the groups that are dedicated to her, and wow, that's why when I put that information, I'm always like,
eyebrows that look like the McDonald's arches. Whoever that girl is, I spoke with on the phone, and her and I lasted about 30 seconds. She made me want to puke.
Oh wow,
wow.
So okay. Heavenly Clouds asks, I don't know, did she have any mental issues, or was there any drugs involved? Do you know?
I can tell you this girl didn't even eat fast food. As far as mental issues, I could tell you this much. I'm not a mental health professional. She went through a terrible marriage, a nasty divorce. And 4 months after her divorce, her ex was married. I mean, that's out there. That's a matter of public record. Oh, wow. Yeah, you saw that. That's out there if you Google. It's already on other documentaries and stuff. I do know that there was some issues that she had. Like I said, I'm not a mental health professional. I've spoken with the father. I do not have her power of attorney over her medical background. I'm not, like I said, not a mental health professional, but I think based on some of the things that she went through, yeah. And you made a pretty good point. You said she seems unsettled. I made the comment to her family a couple of days ago based on the stuff that I watched. And listen, I hate social media stuff. I can't stand, what's that called? TikTok, all that garbage. That's why she was like, well, what's your Facebook page? We'll verify who you are. And I said, just Google my phone number. I don't do private investigating work through Facebook. It doesn't do shit. But I can tell you, she seemed like the kind of girl that did not at this point have a identity. She was a military girl. She was a college athlete. She was a wife. She was a daughter. And then she was maybe wanted to be a Laker girl or maybe be a social media person, and just somebody who had attained a degree and was all over the place. Kind of like you get out of school and you're like, what the hell do I do now? And I think that she might have wanted to be a mom. She, there was a lot of things that she was going through, and she just didn't seem comfortable.
Yeah.
Oh,
but do you take it as that it was something? And I know you said you're not a psychiatrist, and neither are we, but we kind of got this sense of maybe some like mania going on there with some of the stuff. Do you get that sense from the family that they think that maybe something has broke there?
No, because the level that she did this is too smooth. Let me give you an example. I found people with diagnosed schizophrenia. I just am finishing a case now with a woman in northern Mississippi named Lori Cockrell, which is a bizarre story. If anybody wants to look up a bizarre story, she is an heiress to it's called Cockrell Banana Company. And Lori Cockrell, who went missing in Tupelo about 90-some days ago, had mental health issues. When you find people with mental health issues, you find them behind a Walmart barefoot with a crack pipe. You find them in the middle of the desert. You find them across state lines talking to themselves. You find them living with people that you didn't even know that they knew in Utah, or you find them in a mental health facility. They don't disappear with a $30,000 hot rod, have celebrity friends, it doesn't work that way. That doesn't mean there's not some mental illness here, but usually when people go missing with them, in the cases I've worked, and I'm sure I'm going to get tons of people in there saying, well, my brother was missing and he wasn't barefoot. And, what I'm saying is most of the cases that I've worked, and there's been a handful of them, not a great deal, that the person was diagnosed with a mental health issue. I find them in jail with no shoes and no shirt, or I find them on the beach living in a tent. It's not the same thing as this. This girl knew what she was doing. She had the means to do it. She also made several comments to friends that she had a friend in Cincinnati that would bail her out financially if she needed anything. I'm still trying to find out who that person is, because the celebrity people that she knew, she mentioned to people by name. That's how I know who they are. And then I backtracked it with people that saw her with them that didn't even realize these people were famous. Like if right now Brad Pitt pulled up and picked you guys up, in sunglasses and a hat, your neighbors probably wouldn't realize it was Brad Pitt, right? So based on some of the backtracking I've done, I've known that they've seen these celebrities with her. And like I said, they've seen them in a quick glance. That's usually not somebody who's bipolar or paranoid schizophrenic would do and be able to stay off the grid this long. That car would have been found crashed on the side of the road in Tallahassee.
Are you able to get in touch with these two, like the rapper and the NBA? Did you say
I talked
NBA?
to the NBA player's agent's attorney, which is also his sister, and very interesting enough, they hung up on me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Ouch.
And how was her relationship with her dad? Well, with both of her parents? I mean, was she close? Like, did they?
She was very. The whole family was. There's a video out there that's heartbreaking of her, and it's the one that sticks in my mind over all the other shit, where she films her father carrying in the baby sheep. Have you seen that?
Yes,
I haven't seen that one.
Love it.
They have a small 5-acre, what the father calls a mini farm. So I would think that, yeah, the father is a youth minister. He's a coach. He's got a degree. He's an engineer, an agricultural engineer. These are good, solid people. I'm going to be honest with you. 90% of the people that go missing that I find, once I find, are assholes. Like, you know what I mean? When somebody goes missing, all of a sudden, within hours, they become a straight A student. They become the best brother, the best sister, the best husband, the best girlfriend, the best parent that they've ever seen. It's not that way. If I ever go missing, I want my parents to say, yeah, he was an okay guy. Some people liked him, a lot didn't. By the way, he had a 2.2 GPA in college. A lot of people thought he was an asshole. That's real. That whole Gabby Petito story, I was on a major media outlet days after. I knew that kid was dead. I said it. I was the first and only one to say it the entire time, that he's dead and she's gone. And the reason he did that to her is she was getting attention from guys on the internet. You put two people in a van, they're floating around the country. She's already broken up a marriage and he choked her to death. It was that simple because he didn't let it go. Remember, he was grabbing at her phone. He was grabbing at her phone, but it wouldn't look really good for the family to come out and say, well, she was talking to 10 dudes while she was in a van with him trolling around the country. So, you know, he choked her to death. Not that she deserves it. Not that anybody should do something like that. But where there's smoke, there's fire, guys. And unfortunately, when people go missing, they become these wonderful, incredible people. And that's not always the case with the families or that. That's why I don't do children cases. There's certain cases I won't do. I won't do a 4-year-old that ran away with its mother, because I've looked into those cases before. And if I find that 4-year-old and her mother and I bring him back and the father's molesting the kid, even though he hasn't been caught yet and there's parental rights, I wouldn't want to do that. So I don't do 5-year-olds that went missing in 1980. They'd be my age now. And I don't do people that leave the country. Now, if it bleeds to outside the country, I've worked some cases like that. But not always are the people that you find good people. I found people before and they were wanted by the law. A lot of these missing people you see that the police put out, they have warrants out for their arrest. The cops make them look like they're runaways, these juveniles, or that they are missing persons, when really they're wanted for crack dealing.
Oh. Huh. Wow.
And I have the ability to look people up. I get cases all the time, and Bob Smith is missing from Dallas, Texas, and the police want to find him. Well, why isn't his mom and his dad looking for him? And then I do a background check, and I see he's a wanted sex offender. Oh, but online, he looks like he's missing, and people are like, oh, he's missing. A lot of people go missing for a real good reason.
True. Interesting. I don't know. Nobody's really asking any questions in the chat, and I know I'm going to have so many after you get off. I'm going to be like, shoot, I should have asked her this and this and this. This always happens.
Brianna,
have you ever had a private investigator on the program before?
No, I haven't. You're the first, so thank you for coming on.
How about psychics? Have you had them on, or web sleuths, or advocates?
No, advocates. I've had one psychic, I think, just one. Where she did like who? Oh, Peter. Yeah, he was
Peter Hyatt.
Like. Yeah, language analyst, or is that
he's like world renowned.
Do you know Peter Hyatt?
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
No, and you know what? That's another reason I don't do a lot of shows. People ask me all the time, have you heard of this in this case, or do you remember? I have never watched Investigation Discovery. I've never watched a 48 Hours episode. None of this is entertaining to me. I'm like a football coach who's never watched the sport. I see the real I see the real behind the scenes of this, and it loses its magic. It's just not entertaining to me. So I don't know a lot of cases. I don't know a lot of other PIs. And to be honest with you, I don't think too many of them like me anyway. So what are you going to
do? So Brianna, CC wants to know, is she presumed dead or alive?
Are you talking about the Nelson girl?
Yes.
Oh, no, she's alive. She's out there somewhere. If she was dead, we'd have found the car already. See, that car's the anchor, unless she's at the bottom of a lake in that car. And then there's nothing I can do for her. If she's deceased out there, we'll figure it out sooner or later, probably by the vehicle. And it could be the cases I've worked with, people have died. There was just a case that finished up in Idaho that I did a couple of weeks ago, a woman named Betty Counts. Counts, I believe, was the spelling of the last name. You can look that case up, and she was found in the woods. Her car, she had Alzheimer's, and she drove around, her and her husband, who had basically met on Plenty of Fish in their 80s. She had been married about a year and a half, and she got in an argument with him, got in a car, drove around Idaho, Washington State, got lost, and they found her 80 days later in the car. They never found her dog that was with her. It got out of the window, was down, but she was dead in the car almost the entire time. And the car had hit a log and was up on its back wheels, so she couldn't get out. And she was in a trailhead, and nobody had gone through that area, so she was dead. So it's very possible that people that go missing are dead out there, and you just don't find them. I don't think that's the case here. This girl's pretty tough. She's in incredible shape. She had enough people out there that would help her, and I just don't know why she would go through these sort of theatrics just to go out and kill herself.
Yeah, I don't, it doesn't seem like she would kill herself or anything, but I'm just worried that she had a lot of men watching those lives, and like just creepy men, it seemed like, making like creepy comments. And I don't know. That's what I was just hoping that somebody didn't somehow talk her into giving her the location of where she was at, or they figured it out from like watching the videos, and they knew what city she was in and figured it out. So that's where my mind was going. But now I'm looking at it different. You opened my eyes to a lot. So I'm thinking, I think I agree with you on everything, most of what you said about her probably just being scared to come back, scared that she's going to be in trouble with the army. And wow, I hope you are right though.
And for anyone joining us late who might not have caught this, we are trying to get the attention of Michaela Nelson. So if any of you can share this live with your social medias so that it can reach her somehow, even if you have like a very small social media platform, just share this live and hopefully it will get to her, because Jim's number is on screen, and Jim can guarantee that there'll be nothing done to Michaela. You know, she won't get in any trouble with the military if she just calls him.
Right. Well, not only that, but there might be some of her friends, maybe a relative, somebody I haven't spoken to, somebody that saw something, somebody that, you know, knew her or talked to her that might reach out to me as well. I mean, I haven't gotten a hold of anybody. Guys, I've only been on this a couple of days. She's got a 2-week head start on me. You know what I mean? But, and like I said, not to sound callous, but if she is deceased, there's nothing a private investigator in this country is going to be able to do for her anyway. She's gone. But if she's alive out there, or if she still is deceased, obviously, and you still want to find that person for the family. So that's why I mentioned myself as more of a recovery person than even a private investigator. Most private investigators don't do missing people. This is a nasty business. It seems neat, but it is a nasty, cutthroat, dirty business as far as being a private investigator in this. Most private investigators work for attorneys, and they do insurance claims. They make car accidents. There's no money in this. And most people whose kids go missing, or their loved ones go missing, can't afford a private investigator. Usually you see that when they don't put a reward up.
Okay.
Somebody's been missing for 2 months and the family doesn't put a reward up. Shit, I see signs at the post office where there's a pit bull missing and they put up $4,000.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So brutal.
how long is it going to take, though? Let's say another week passes and you don't find out anything. I mean, when is it going to be to the point where media is going to start covering it a little bit?
I'm going to talk to the media tomorrow. I just want to be careful as to how I do it. I don't want to go off half-cocked. I want to have the conversation with her sergeant and with the military base again. I want to get more reassurance from them, and I want them to do it. There's a couple of ducks I want to put in a row. And I want to make sure that they get everything right. I've already spoke with somebody at Channel 10 in Dayton, and there will be something there tomorrow. It's kind of like starting close and then branching out. For me to go, I mean, I could go right now into a major media outlet, speak with them, give them all this stuff. And I mean, let's face it, this has everything. NBA ball players, rappers, an attractive girl in the military who went missing in a hot rod several weeks ago and nobody's seen her, with friends in a social media background. This has everything that the media wants. But like I said, I'm not a fan of the entertainment of this. I need to find this girl and let her family know where they are. It's all I care about.
Yeah. Right. All right. Wow.
Is it asking too much to share the information of the car? Or do you want to keep that like under wraps right now?
Her car's a 2016 gray Dodge Charger. It's a gray Dodge Charger. It's the car that you see everywhere out there. She bought it. She was the second owner. I talked to the dealership that she got it from. It's her car. It's in her name. There's no co-signer. I have the VIN number, which that's not going to help anybody out there. I do have the license plate number as well. It's actually on my phone. I would have to get up and grab it. But the bottom line is it's a gray Charger. It's out there. And listen, my phone number is here. If there's anybody that ever wants to call me or talk to me about this, or, you know, I don't want to bullshit with them about the case. I mean, with all due respect, God bless all the people that have an interest in this. But if somebody thinks they saw something, guys, listen, I saw a thing when I was a kid where if you look at, you remember Joe Montana, who's a quarterback?
Yeah.
Okay. Joe Montana could put sunglasses on and a hat, and he could go into Disney World. Nobody would know who the hell he is. Magic Johnson walks into, or Shaquille O'Neal, doesn't matter. You see somebody who's 6'7", a black guy walks into a room, everybody turns around. If somebody like that walks into a room, you walk. It's the same thing with this girl. It's hard for her to hide. It's hard for an attractive human being to hide. That's probably why I could never go missing, and you two could never go missing. We're too good looking. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
she walks in the room, people see her. If you know, if she looked like Meghan Trainor, you know, people don't really pay attention to that lady. You know what I mean? If she looked like Kelly Clarkson now, nobody gives a shit. And so you walk in with Lululemon pants on and a tight sweatshirt, people are going to notice you. Let's be honest here, right? She's got that against her. She's noticeable.
Yeah, you're right.
That's why I was so surprised that the media hasn't picked up on this. I'm like, I don't get it. What's going on? She has a huge social media. Like she has TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. She's all over it. She's very attractive. It just didn't make sense why it wasn't out there. But now, I mean, it's making a little bit more sense.
You know what's interesting too, and I'll pull back the curtain a little bit here while we're talking. Whenever you want to cut me off, you just let me know. I don't want to keep you forever. But I had a case with a white kid named Jed Hall out in Idaho several months back, years back. And it was right. So I used to be able to get press on anybody by making a phone call. It was one of the things that really helped me. And now you got to wait your turn. You know what I mean by that? Sometimes I'll call a media outlet and I say, I got this kid. Okay, who is he? Well, he's 16 years old. He's white. He's a sophomore at Wilson High School, and he's been missing for 2 days. Okay, well, next we got to do a black girl. Then once we do an Asian girl, then we'll do a white guy next. The media at this point is so scared to only do. Did you see all the backlash on Gabby Petito?
Yeah.
They did hers, and every black pundit that was on every other station in the country was like, another white girl missing. Let me tell you why Gabby Petito's story was not only because she was white, her family did everything right.
Yes.
They flew to the place. They got on the media. Both sets of her parents, her stepdad and mom, her dad and stepmom were all out there. They flew to the air. I talk to people every day that want me to take their case, and they're like, okay, well, I got to go to work today. We'll talk later tonight and see if we can. I says, aren't you worried about the missing? They won't even get, well, what if I find them? I found missing persons before, and the family didn't even want them back.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, so you got to do everything right, but now the media sometimes has to take people in chronological order based on race. They just won't shoot out a bunch of hot white chicks all at once like they used to do that, or all a bunch of black people or a bunch of Native Americans. The Native Americans are really the ones that get screwed. I mean, they go missing. Their women go missing in North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, like you couldn't possibly believe, and nobody gives a shit.
No one says anything.
Because it doesn't sell.
If you can't get into LA markets, I have a couple of friends with ABC7 News out here. So you can get my info from Zap Girl if you can't do it for some reason. You should be able to.
I appreciate it. And listen, we will be working together. And that's one of the reasons. Like I said, I saw this and I was impressed by what you guys were doing. I liked the chat room, even though people were blocking me in there. I was being rude. And I was like, no, you got to see, I haven't been in the media for this case, so nobody would know who I was. But I was actually putting my phone number in the chat room. And I'm like, the worst they could do is just hang up on me. But it seems like you guys got a pretty, how long have you been doing this?
3 years.
Oh, wow.
Well, Zav has, she built this entire channel.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh,
I'm just learning how to type now. I can't even change the picture on my Facebook page. So you guys are light years ahead of where I'm at, believe me.
Well, we were scared you were going to come on and show inappropriate parts. Because
that happens.
So
that's why you have to vet them a little bit.
Is that what you were hoping, or is that just what you thought was going to happen?
I don't want to encourage it right now. I don't want to encourage it, but that is what we thought might happen.
Well, maybe if we find her Monday, that's how we'll celebrate. But at this point, I probably wouldn't pull that. Yeah. You've had people do that on this show?
No, I haven't. But we've seen people on other shows. I haven't yet.
Not here because we're pit bulls. Did you see how we treated you?
I'm very I don't just bring up, a lot of people will put their links out on chat and then anybody could join. I do that once in a while, but I won't do it a lot because you never know who you're going to get,
Right. Well, I don't want to monopolize your whole show. If there's any other questions out there, now's the time to fire away.
I can't think of any.
You guys, this might be the last time. Jim's going to be going to talk to some news outlets tomorrow, or at least one. So if anyone, okay, what's this question? I didn't read it before I'm putting it up.
Oh, I don't know.
Sorry, dogs are eating.
What to do if county jail won't release? Wait, what?
What to do if a county jail won't release video of someone being discharged from that same jail? Okay, so I think I understand this. So what happens is sometimes you see these cases every once in a while where somebody goes missing after being arrested. They're drunk, and I don't want to say that that's what this person is talking about, but they're drunk. They're at a bar. The cops bring them in. They put them in the tank for a couple of hours. They sober up and they let them out. There was a famous story like this in LA where there was a black girl and they arrested her and then they let her go and then she disappeared. But then there was a mural spray painted. That was one case I looked into when I was in school. And it was her and they thought maybe the cop. So what there is there's surveillance footage of people entering and leaving the jail. So a lot of times when people leave the jail, they'll go missing. Maybe they're not totally sober. Maybe somebody's after them. Who knows what happens? And they probably want footage of them. My advice would be they want footage of that person who's probably missing who left the jail. That's what I assume they're asking. Hire an attorney. The answer to 99 out of 100 questions in private investigating is money. It's money. It's hiring a private investigator. It's spending money on flyers. It's putting up a reward. It's hiring an attorney. Unfortunately, it's not something people budget for. So I would hire an attorney and have the attorney contact the jail, because your uncle calling there and saying, I need the video, it is probably not going to get very far.
Very true.
Oh, phone records. Kelly, do you mean
her phone records?
Yeah, her phone records.
Yeah, because the police listen. If you're in jail, like right now we're in jail and I have the phone and I'm talking to you, I'm like, so how's mom and dad doing? Yeah, do you think you guys could bail me out? That's monitored by the police. You have no expectation of privacy. If you watch when Hulk Hogan's son, which is from my area, Hulk Hogan's son was in jail, they had all the footage of and all the video and audio of Hulk Hogan talking to his son. And Hulk Hogan said some pretty shitty stuff about the kid that he was charged with possibly hurting in a car accident. So I would get an attorney and I would go through the proper channels with an attorney.
Okay. Oh, so they were asking the same person asking the same question, Bella?
No, this is Kelly wants to know if there's a way to look at Michaela's Am I
phone
saying her
records.
name right now?
Her phone records?
Yes.
Have you guys been able to look?
Yeah, we're in luck. The phone, yes. And that's kind of one of those things where depending on where you were, I don't believe she used the phone after a certain date, which I think was the 6th. The phone is in the father's name, so we have all the phone records.
Awesome.
But she has
But the famous,
she didn't have more than one. I have 2 phones.
Right. The famous people could have easily given her
guys,
phone.
I'll tell you what a lot of other people are doing right now too is you don't even need you just need the phone. A lot of people, a lot of kids that go missing, they buy burner phones at 7-Eleven. They're like, you can get a burner phone for $15, $25. You can get a friend to give you an old phone and use Wi-Fi at Starbucks or a hotspot with somebody else in the car, and they have every access to everything that they want, and they don't even have service on their phone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, yeah. Yep,
yeah, I bet you dollars to donuts she had another phone.
Okay. So I don't know. Do you see any more, Bella?
I'd have to go like pretty
You're doing
far
good at
up.
finding them. I don't know why I'm not.
And if people have any other questions, it doesn't necessarily have to be about this case. I will answer those as well if they have. If they're,
well, we do. Wait, someone wanted to know if you take cold cases.
I love cold cases. My oldest one is 1979, and it involved a professional wrestler named Jake the Snake Roberts.
Oh my God! I used to be wrestling, and I know Jake the Snake.
Jake the Snake Roberts, whose real name is Aurelio Smith. I worked for his family. He had a father that was a famous professional wrestler that was also a pedophile. And he had a sister that went missing in 1979. And he has a sister, a half-sister and a half-brother that were also professional wrestlers. And there was I was on a documentary series that was called Dark Side of the Ring. And it talked about Jake the Snake Roberts' missing sister who disappeared in 1979. And I did pretty well on that one. So, yes, I would rather do cold cases.
Wow.
Kathleen St. Dennis wants to know, was she having trouble with her family before leaving?
No. There was no fight, no arguments, nothing of that nature. Nothing. I wish there was. There was, her mother just passed away. And so there was tension there. I don't know that the family was overly close, but I do know that there was no real fight that I could see. In fact, she even visited a cousin in Chicago, and she has a grandparent or two that are still alive outside the area. So no, there was, to my knowledge, no, not that I found. I've had families lie to me before, but nothing that would make her disappear.
Okay. Did her ex abuse her? Do you know?
That's been kind of public out there based on the stuff that she said. According to her, there had been some, I don't know how much, if there was any physical abuse. I don't think there was ever an arrest made. But based on the stuff, I'm not saying anything that's not already out there. Based on the stuff that she's put out there, he was, he was not a good guy to her. I mean, he got married 4 months after their divorce. You do the math.
And Canine Handler had this question, and that's good. Does her car have an OnStar?
Oh.
No, it does not.
Doesn't have. Wow. Okay. So it doesn't have any like GPS abilities or.
Not yet.
Shoot.
Not yet.
Think about that.
Kelly wants to know, how often did she post online? A lot.
A ton. And like I said, that stuff is interesting to me, but I don't think there's a clue in there as to where she is now. I just think that was like I was watching it on your show, and she's like, if you want to get a hold of me, I'll have my agent, or not her agent. She said her what? Her manager?
Her manager, yeah.
Yeah, if she had a fucking manager, I've never heard of.
No, that's what
she don't have a manager.
Things, she made herself look more than what she was.
What manager?
Definitely, yeah.
Well, my makeup artist is right here, so.
And she pushed LA a lot. I'm going to LA tomorrow. I'm moving there tomorrow. Wasn't she? I'm like, maybe she's in LA.
That makes sense that maybe she did go there. Wait, I had a question.
Libra Scales wants to know, are you licensed in the state of Colorado, and how often do you take new cases?
I only do one case at a time, and unless it's something real quick. Like I'm working on this case now. If somebody called me and said, hey, listen, I used to date this girl in high school. I can't find her. You know what I mean? I could do that in a phone call. But am I licensed in Colorado? No, I'm not a licensed private investigator in Colorado. The states that I do are Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Mississippi. I do Ohio, and I do, Ohio and I've done West Virginia. There's ways to be a private investigator in Alaska and Montana. That's
Alaska. Wow.
Yeah, Alaska. Well, there's certain states you don't need a private. You don't need to go to school. There's two state. There's let's see, one, two. In the state of Idaho, Alaska, South Dakota, and Wyoming, all you need is a business license to be a private investigator. O.J. Simpson could show up in Idaho tomorrow, spend the $25, think of a clever name, and he's a private investigator. That's why I don't understand these web sleuths and shit. I don't understand why they just don't become licensed private investigators in states. You know what I mean? But maybe that's not something that they want to do.
I didn't. Wow.
I could work in Colorado, or if the case leads me outside of Colorado. For example, Colorado borders Wyoming. I've had cases where somebody from Wyoming went down to Colorado to do the marijuana stuff, and because it's legal there. And since it started in Wyoming, then the reciprocity, I could go into that state. But just to do a state like Colorado, now, if I called a private investigator there, I have a friend that's there, I could work under them. Or if I work under an attorney in a certain state, I'm not licensed, I could be a licensed PI in that state as well.
So is there any credibility to the death threats that she was talking about online? Because she did mention that. Did you hear? Have you found anything?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
From people she knew or from strangers?
People she knew.
What?
I didn't know that was out there, but yeah. Yeah.
So aren't you kind of worried about that?
There was some credibility involved in that. Yeah, there is. And I know who those people are, and I'm desperately trying to get them on the phone. See, there's two types of people when it comes to missing women that deal with them. There's those that are tough with women and not tough with anybody else. And I think that's who these people are.
Wow.
Yep.
Thank you, Hope Reigns.
Yeah, thank you for the super chat.
Stargazer. Sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
Stargazer's mom wants to know if you're licensed in Utah.
No, but I can work in Utah. Listen, the states that I'm licensed in, I've mentioned, but there's certain states that I can work in. Let me explain how that works. If somebody went missing in Utah and they have an attorney, there's a way for me to work under the attorney, or I can call up if it's lucrative enough. I can call a private investigator in Utah and work under their license or work with them. So there's ways to get around that. So just assume I could work anywhere if I could find a way to do it. If not, I can give them some of the other thing I do that's different, not to make this an infomercial for Jim Terry and Gulf Coast Investigation, is I don't charge an hourly wage. So, for example, most private investigators for a case like this would charge anywhere from $5, because people want to know the price all the time. And I'll tell you, most private investigators for a case like this would either charge nothing and do it pro bono, which I think is garbage, because if you're good at something, you never do it for free.
Right.
Not only that, but it doesn't keep the family loyal to you. If somebody paid me $10,000 for a case and I need to get them on the phone, they're going to answer. If I don't have anything invested, I'm trying to get a hold of them, and they don't have anything invested in me, they might not be as loyal to what I'm doing, or they might have 5 guys like me. So an average private investigator for a case like this would charge about $5,000 down, and anywhere from $85 to $125 an hour. So you would burn up that $5,000 in about a week. And I don't do that. I charge a lump sum fee. So if your son's been missing since 1974 and you want me to look into it, if I think I can do it, I'll take the case. I'll never take a case unless I think I can get you at least some information that you didn't have before. If not, solve it. I've never not solved a case. Never. I'm lucky. Never in 6 years have I never not found my person or thing. And I've done like a Super Bowl ring or expensive comic book or a baseball jersey for a family whose father died of cancer. It's not always people that go missing. Sometimes it's a classic car or a stolen guitar. So, but yeah, I charge a lump sum fee, and I'm very affordable.
All right.
So are you concerned about the death threats and then her not being found, or are you going back to the thing about her car?
No, because, yeah, I don't think the people that had the death threats, and I know between us, and I can't go much into this part, but, and that's good that they caught that out there. That's smart. See, that's good shit. I don't want to go too far into it because I haven't gotten those people, and I don't know how much credibility or how, I could say, like, I wish, I threatened to kill 3 people on my way to work 2 days ago. You know what I mean? That was in my car. You see where I'm saying? I mean, that's not a credible threat. But if I call you up and say, hey, listen, if you tell anybody about what happened at the hotel, I'm going to fucking kill you. Or if you text it, that's a little bit different. I don't think that the people that threatened her have her. Let me put it to you that way.
Okay. What about her stalkers? She claimed she had stalkers.
Yeah, she said stalkers. The video we watched today, she said death threats and stalkers.
Yeah, I'm going to look into that. Like I said, that's why I'm doing your show, because I learn every day. I don't know it all, right? So
you don't have all the time in the world to watch all of her videos. She has a lot of videos.
She has a lot. I stay up till 5 in the morning watching.
Tips on no sleep.
I don't know anything that's I mean, yeah, I'm sure she did. If you listen, you put yourself out there. You're going. I don't know why anybody's surprised anymore. And you are not hard to find. Listen, it would take me 30 seconds to find both of you, even if I wasn't a private investigator. And there's people that are better at finding out who you are online than even private investigators, because they sit around and eat Doritos all day and they're good at the computer. I had typing in high school, guys. I didn't have a computer in high school. I had typing class.
Same. Zap, did you have typing? Did you have computer in school or typing?
Me?
Yeah.
Typing. Yeah, not computer. It was just typing class.
So you got to be over the age of 35.
40. Yeah. I'm 40.
You're over 40. Okay. Yeah. No, we had typing.
Yeah, no, I had typing.
Always,
but it taught me how to type, and I still remember.
The typing teacher was always the biggest moron. Like I remember my typing teacher was like an assistant football coach who smoked pot with the kids at a bar called the Ice House. So yeah, the typing teachers were always somebody, they wanted them to be at the school, but didn't know what they couldn't have them teach science. So they made them, it was kind of like driver's ed.
Mine was a mean old lady though. She wasn't very nice. She was mean.
Yeah. I don't even remember mine. That's what an impression she left.
Somebody said it's called keyboarding. I think I think when I took it, it was just called typing. I feel like. How old are you, Betty? You're probably younger than me. But no, yeah, I don't see anything else. Thank you so much for coming on. That was wow. You opened my eyes to a lot, and I'm glad that I did just say, you know what.
Yeah, because I was
send them a link because I don't want to miss out on opportunity, because I had so many questions and I was like, I don't know. I can't find anything online on some of these questions I have. So you were able to answer some.
Well, you have my phone number. I thank you for getting out as much as you have and giving me the time to drone on your program. But thank you for giving me the opportunity. And listen, if you ever need anything on any other case and you just want to pick my brain or me look at it, you can. But the name of my company is Gulf Coast Investigation. I'm based out of Mississippi. My telephone number is right here. You can Google the number to see the other stories I've worked on. And my telephone number is 813-993-2242. And my phone never ever is off. You will always get me. And and I'll let other people know too right now that I have a device on my phone where if you call me from a blocked number, I will still see who you are. Let me tell you guys what this is. Do you know about this?
No.
Called trap call. Trap call. I have no sort of a correlation with them financially or anything other than I use the product. Trap call goes on your cell phone. It costs $4.95 a month. And if somebody calls you with a blocked number, if somebody calls you with a restricted number, when it rings, you act like you're going to get rid of the call, and the next ring that comes through from the same call shows you the person's phone number. So I have people to call. That's why I put my personal cell phone number out there, because I have people go, I'm going to kick your ass. And then I find out they're calling from their grandparents' house, and I call their grandparents, and I say, hey, Steve just threatened to kill me. And they go, Steve's 14.
Oh, my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, trap call. Google trap call. It is worth the $4.95 a month, guys. I'm telling you, it's a godsend. And nobody knows you have it. So people can call you up and you can see the number coming and, never have to worry.
What about, does it take care of spoof calls?
Well, if you have it, now I love spoof calls too. I use those all the time. So spoof is where you could put any number on the caller ID. No, because you'll see the number that's coming on a spoof call. So if I call you with her number,
right,
then you can't get rid of the call because there's nothing. This is only for blocked and restricted numbers. It shows you who's calling.
Okay.
I mean, it's a great thing, but I always get spoofed.
How do you know though that you do?
Because it'll like say something. It'll always be like somebody from like Mumbai selling insurance or whatever, or telling me my SSI, like the cops are coming.
Yeah, see, and for as much as my phone number's out there, I don't get. My mom's like, oh, I get all these robocalls today. Nobody ever calls me. I wish I got those calls. That'd be fun.
It's annoying. I could never answer my phone because it's all of those. It's nobody I ever know or nobody for me ever. It's annoying. It gets really annoying.
Chat really wants us to bring up Summer Wells and get your opinion on it.
My opinion?
If you followed that case, Summer Wells.
No, who's Summer Wells? It sounds like a dancer. Who's Summer, or a pro wrestler? Who's Summer Wells?
Oh,
She's
well, if you don't know, yeah.
Yeah,
Like
5-year-old little girl that's been missing for 4 months from Tennessee.
Wait, from where?
Tennessee.
Okay. I was on a radio show a couple of weeks ago, and there was a girl that was taken from some camp by a black guy in Australia.
They found her, Cleo Smith. Yeah,
they found her. Yeah. Well, listen, any black guy at wearing a jerry curl who looks like he just walked out of the Thriller video probably should raise some black eyes anywhere. Anybody with a jerry curl, I wouldn't let anywhere near me, regardless of their criminal record. Yeah, that was bizarre. So there's a girl in Tennessee missing.
Yeah, 4 months now.
Yeah.
And 90% of those always have to do something with the family. It's sad that you say that, but the ones I've seen all have family involvement. I don't know about her. What do they think happened to her?
Well, the family was just on Dr. Phil actually this past week, and Dr. Phil, told him that he doesn't think that they are involved. But go ahead, Bella. What were you going to say?
Well, that Candace does have guilty knowledge, and she might not know she has guilty knowledge, but she's definitely hiding something. But that the timeline doesn't support the parents doing anything. But the way they live, if you can't sleep tonight, Jim, look at some videos about the way they live, and someone can sneak on that property. The parenting wasn't the best. I'll just leave it at that.
Things, guys, the one question I get from a lot of people is, what can I do to make sure this doesn't happen? For a kid the age of, I'd say 12 to 18, a child 12 to 17 in most states, there's 3 reasons these kids go missing or run away. You want to know what number 1 is? Parents took their cell phones away.
Oh my gosh, seriously?
Yep. I get more cases, and I tell the parents, okay, great. Let's track the cell phone. Well, I took the cell phone away from her 2 weeks ago, and that's why she left. Yeah, that's number 1. In my world, that's number 1. Number 2, they want to be with a boy or they want to be with a girl. They ran away with this boy. They wanted to have sex with him, or he's a little bit older, or he's black, he's white, whatever the case may be, and the parents were against it, and they leave a boy. Third is usually drugs.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. The phone, though, that surprises me. But I guess now everybody's so into the phones. I could see that now.
Yeah, these kids don't know. You take a phone away from a kid, they explode. They don't know how to handle it. And these kids go nuts, especially when you get into that phone and you find out that they're sexting somebody or whatever, and the parents find out about it. So never take a kid's phone away. It's a great tool in case they do run. But the other thing is, there's apps you could put on these phones that the kids don't even know about it. Not the stuff that they know about it, the stuff that they don't. And I'm hearing a lot in the industry and the trades right now that there is a disc. Looks almost like a casino chip. You could sew it into kids' shoes or their backpack, and you can track them.
It's like an invisible leash.
Yeah, I mean,
there's dogs that have that now. You could put that leash on and it'll find your dog. But the problem is the battery runs out so quick. But they're coming up with new stuff like that every day. They'll sew it in the backpack. The problem with those are, and this is the last thing I'll say, then I'll let you guys go because I could go on forever. You were like, well, why wouldn't everybody want to track their kid? Okay, that's right. You would think everybody, like, what parents wouldn't want to have a device in there? How could that be an issue? Okay, so let's say me and you were married, right? And we're divorced and we have a kid. And I sew that into the kid's backpack. Now I know where mom is. The divorced parents can follow each other. You follow me? So mom and dad are divorced, and while they both want to know where their kid is, mom doesn't want dad knowing that she dropped the kids off on the weekend with her parents so she could go party with her new boyfriend. And if I've got the tracker on that girl's backpack, I know my daughter's not with her mom. She's at the in-laws, and then I go over there. See, that's the problem with some of that. It's not a perfect world yet when it comes to that tracking device. Or somebody can leave that in somebody's car and say, "Oh, I left it in my daughter's backpack in your car," and then you're able to track somebody. There's some
true. I see.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, "Have them back. Have Jim."
Everyone.
You're always welcome to come back because I definitely will. have questions and
Well,
upcoming cases.
if there's any case you guys ever want me to look into, I'll do my darndest, and I can do background checks for you. I don't have a problem doing any of that stuff. But like I said, thank you for having me on the program. Thank you for covering this. Thank you for letting me get the truth out about what's going on. You were about 12 to 16 hours now ahead of the news cycle that will hit on this case. So it's not going to be why aren't they covering it? It's going to be how you guys covered it first.
Wow. Okay.
Thank you so much. You're so awesome.
Yeah.
All right,
really
guys. God bless.
appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much.
Thank
God
you.
bless.
All right. Bye-bye.
Really, 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 really need your love. I'm begging you to be kind. I'm begging you to be kind.